So today we're going to dive into a really beautiful and, kind of mind-bending idea from one of Buddhism's most important texts, the Diamond Sutra. It's all about a challenge, to see what isn't there, and to look at the world, and even ourselves, in a totally new light. Let's get into it.
Everything in this teaching really kicks off with a question. And on the surface, it seems pretty simple, but trust me, it quickly unravels this deep mystery about what reality even is. I mean, really think about that for a second. If you walked past someone on the street who is truly enlightened, would you even know? Would they have some kind of special aura, a certain look in their eye? It's a pretty cool thing to wonder about, and it's almost the exact question the Buddha asks to get this whole conversation started. So he turns to one of his sharpest disciples, a guy named Subhuti, and he doesn't just give him the answer. Instead, he poses this philosophical puzzle, and the two of them unpack it together through this incredible dialogue.
Okay, and this is where things get really fascinating, because the answer to the Buddha's big question isn't a simple yes or no. Nope. What we get instead is a paradox, a statement that seems to completely flip logic on its head. The Buddha essentially asks, "Hey Subhuti, look at my body." Now, tradition says he had these 32 special physical marks, things like a bump on his head or wheels on the soles of his feet that marked him as a great being. And he asks if that, his physical appearance, is the right way to really see him.
And here it is. Subhuti's answer, it's a total head-scratcher, right? Let that just sit for a moment. He says the perfect features are not perfect features, and that is precisely why they are called perfect features. At first glance, it sounds like absolute gibberish. So this is the puzzle we have to solve. A is not A, therefore it is A. How can that possibly make sense? It feels like one of those riddles that's designed to be impossible, but it's not. There's an incredibly elegant answer, but to get there, we just have to shift our perspective a little bit. And that new perspective, the key that unlocks this entire paradox, is realizing that they aren't just talking about one thing. They're actually talking about two different ways of seeing, two different kinds of bodies. It all comes down to these two concepts. The first is the section, that's the physical body. And the second is the bukshin, that's the truth body, or the Dharma body. So let's break down what these really mean.
All right, first up, the section. This is the easy one. It's the body we can see, the one we can touch and measure. It's the Buddha's human form, the one with all those 32 special marks. It's what you and I would just call a body. But the sutra says this isn't the ultimate reality.
And then you have the biopshin. Now this is the true body of enlightenment. And the thing is, it's not a body at all. It has no shape, no color, no location. It's not a person. It's the fundamental truth of existence itself. It's formless, timeless, and boundless. You can't see it with your eyes any more than you can see the law of gravity. So you might be wondering, okay, how am I supposed to wrap my head around something that's completely formless? And that's a great question. Luckily, the text doesn't just leave us hanging, it gives us a couple of really powerful analogies to help us get it. Think of it this way. The physical world, the section, is like a dream. While you're in it, man, it feels totally real, right? But the moment you wake up, you realize it had no real substance. Or try this one. Think of the moon's reflection. You can see a perfect image of the moon in 1,000 different rivers at once, but none of those reflections are the actual moon. The real moon is the single, unchanging source up in the sky. So that brings up another question, doesn't it? Why is the physical world like a dream or a reflection? What makes it empty of a solid, independent reality? The answer lies in this fundamental principle, this idea of a giant cosmic web of interconnection.
In Korean, this principle is called inyan, or dependent origination. And the core idea is actually pretty straightforward. Nothing exists all by itself. Not a person, not a rock, not a star. Everything, and I mean everything, arises out of a massive, complex web of causes and conditions.
Let's use a super simple example, a flower. A flower doesn't just pop into existence, right? It needs a cause, that'd be the seed. But that's not enough. It also needs conditions, the right soil, plenty of water, sunlight. The flower is the final result, but it has zero independent existence. You take away the sun or the water, and poof, no more flower. And this logic applies to absolutely everything, including the Buddhist physical body. Because his body depends on countless other causes and conditions, food, air, parents, and on and on. It has no fixed, separate self. It's empty of a solid, standalone reality. And that's why Subhuti can say the perfect features are not perfect features. He's seen beyond the temporary form, to its interconnected, empty nature.
Okay, so let's pull all these threads back together. What is the big takeaway here? How does all this change the way we're supposed to look at the world?
There's this incredible poem from some later commentaries that just captures the whole idea perfectly. The truth body, the Pyopshin, is that one moon in the sky. All the countless forms in the world, our bodies, the section, are like the thousands of reflections shimmering on the water. The reflections are real in a sense, you can see them, but they all point back to that single true source.
And that's the whole point. The Diamond Sutra is teaching us that true wisdom isn't about staring at the reflections in the river and thinking they're the real deal. It's about looking up and understanding the moon itself, that formless, interconnected truth that gives rise to everything. To truly see a Buddha isn't to see a physical body, is to understand the truth that the Buddha woke up to.
Which, of course, leaves us with one last massive question to think about. If this whole world we experience, our own bodies, our thoughts, if it's all just a reflection dancing on the water, what then is the real thing that it's a reflection of? Thank you for watching.